This is the third program wherein I am also participating. They have knit together a group of the dairymen across all the sector. That's compliments to you, sir. Kindly continue it because of some reason which I'll say that why it should be continued. And it's the first time I remember that could be around, it's slightly less than 100 were, if I remember correctly. Today I see at least around 200 people are the professionals. It's a great, it shows the popularity. And also now we have developed a small brand value on this, in this region. Kindly continue it. Now apart from that, compliments to this region for another reason. I have been associated with dairying in this entire southern India for nearly 30 years now. One of the highly entrepreneurial group in this region, perhaps many of you may not aware, in a country like India, the largest private sector milk producer, the largest paneer manufacturer, largest ghee blender, they all come from this region, which perhaps is not known or recognized by many people, but it's a fact that in private sector, to be in a country like India, to be large, is a great achievement. And many of them, they are from this region, and I've been interacting with small, large entire dairy farmers to the processors for a long time. So I would like to share some of the information with you all this afternoon. Having said this, I come from the institution, but associated with the dairy industry, with the entrepreneurs, with the same Mr. Charles or the earlier speaker associate, all the dairy plants, any dairy plant in the southern India I visited at least once. Mainly because of one is I personally like to get involved with the industry and then see that how we can interact, because there is always a gap between the research academicians and the industry, which we try to bridge sometimes. So with this small background, moving forward, I'll start with this thing. The one is just to inform some delegates who are inquiring whether any special courses are there. We have got almost around 20 special type of courses, and most of which in recent times we find dairy farming has become very popular, especially with the IT group of people. They have their own aspiration, they have their own intention. We also have got data on to what level they all have started, to what level it has been closed down, why it has been closed down. Lot of information is available at the moment. So now, having said this, dairying, many a time they say that I see many of the dairy people, they will say, sir, eppodu problem. The problem is there. Always they say problem. But with all the problem, they will also tell me, sir, it's a peculiar business but highly dynamic. Nobody has closed the dairy plant. They are been growing slightly and all, but sometimes milk is more, sometimes milk is less. Sometimes, as my friend mentioned, inventory is large. Sometimes you have to import. So highly dynamic situation which is there at the moment is this is the dairy situation. But nevertheless, as Mr. Rahul mentioned, policy, there are certain issues which needs to be addressed. Only when you all group like this grows, then only you can just take it forward, is what it is there. With this small background, I always tell my friends, youngsters, dairy people, lot of changes have occurred in the dairy sector in the last 20 years, last 10 years, lot many changes. Then to what extent only a market milk operation or only a product operation or only what is the conversion? Several issues are there. The dynamics has changed drastically in the last 20 years, and every 10 years it is changing. It is making a difference in the way you operate a dairy operation which is there. So always we tell, please think differently. You belong to that unbelong group, slightly think in a different fashion so that you will be able to do something better to your organization. I have also been associated with Karnataka Milk Federation for a long time. We had a think tank or the group which were there, wherein we used to strategize how best the operational, and then there is something on, I'll not go into the research, A2 protein milk and all these things which are there. In New Zealand, there is something called A2 Milk Protein Corporation which has come. These animals are our indigenous cattle and the buffaloes. We produce that type of a protein. So in the next 20 years to come, perhaps this is one area which is likely to make a big progress, is our projection what we have. Now, another important aspect is in what we had seen as youngsters itself. Originally, the milk was like that, then came the packet, then why do you need 2 or 3 months? Now the awareness is increasing. The first thing what my wife or somebody or even children when they go to the market, what they see is the date of manufacture. Even if the UST milk is good, if it is 3 months old, whatever may be its quality, the first thing is they say it's old and they will not buy. At home, I may be dairy technologist, Charles may be president of a dairy, this thing, or Rahul may be managing director. But when it comes to the purchase, it is the housewife or the children, they matter the most. Whatever they bring, we all eat and drink. So now when it's the situation, there is something we all were thinking. In fact, 30 years back, some experiment we did for a brand called Gagan. Is there anything what we can do between these two and then bring the shelf life to about 15 days, 20 days? Now such in the food sector. The food sector, if you open the Economic Times, other than in the IT sector, the most of the happening is on the food sector. You open any day, you see Food Panda or the Tasty Khana or any of those things, Zomato and all these things, everything is related to the food. And then this is one area which is likely to happen, and the changes, when these type of changes will happen, we have to gear up to cater to that. Now, another important information is, for many years, the value of the milk is known to the Indian consumers. We have a history of 5,000 years. And if you look at our type of medicinal system, what we call it as the Ayurvedic, whatever they say that they have got only 3 or 4 doshas and all these things. In most of it, you take any medicinal system, whether it's Unani or Ayurvedic or naturopathy or any of these things, milk and whey find a very important role to play from the health angle which is there. That's one of the reasons why in every house, every place, they have given a lot of importance to this. Now, what is that as the dairy people we have to look in? The dairy aspect, what we did is we do certain projections. What are those projections we did earlier? About 20 years back, I was participating in the Nandini Milk Products, NMP, Karnataka's, which produces exclusively the dairy products. Those were the days when a lot of controversy was there on the cholesterol. In fact, we used to go and address the Indian Medical Association doctors to say milk is not a very big culprit. There are many other food products which are much worse than the milk. So we have to educate. We continuously educated even the doctors. Today, nobody talks about cholesterol and all. At that time, if you see about 20 years back, we had given one article also to them. We said that there is a demand and the need for the UST skim milk, processed milk in UST form. On that day, they laughed because the cost of the skim milk in those days were 8 rupees and the packaging cost was 6 rupees. They said, how can it work? But at the same time, these skim milk, if you just put it in the sachet and all, there was a limited sale. You should have a variant. You have to have a wider market if you have got variety of the products. And over a period of time, today you will see the UST slim milk in different forms. At least 20 brands are available today, which has happened because the awareness on the health has come. And this awareness on the health will keep on increasing and improve. It keeps on increasing. And the demand for the products associated with these aspects is likely to increase. And hence, as dairymen, as dairy people, we also have to prepare ourselves and to cater to this particular requirement. Another important is, about 15 years back, we were also present in one of the fermented milk products. At that time, not even a single fermented or the dahi branded product was available other than some of the pouch dahi which was there. At that time we said this is a growing market, and today also again I say this is a growing market as far as the fresh milk products are concerned. Today the topic which has been assigned, and the discussion is mainly on the fresh milk products. That is, fermented milk product is one such product which has got scope and opportunity which is there. And in the last 15 years, if you see the difference which has occurred, so now today you will find that at least in every region, 10 to 15 brands of the Set Dahi is available. So based on that, why I am mentioning this is we should have a projection, what is the likely demand. One of the aspects what we also mentioned at that time is there is no private sector converters in the state of Karnataka. Even today that vacuum exists and there is a business opportunity in that. Perhaps conversion is a better business than having your own milk and converting into powder. This is what is as on today the economics is indicating. In the same fashion, UST processing conversion and all is possible. There are vacuums and private entrepreneurs, if they are interested, they have to look and then ideally place their facilities in a fashion what they like. Now, what is that likely in around 2020, what is the type of demand in type of food products, including dairy products, is likely to happen? Our small projection is people will expect that in 2000 they were expecting low fat. Now they look that milk should not give only the nutrition, protein and this thing, it should also give the required vitamins. That's where you have to supplement the vitamins into the milk, which becomes functional. As I mentioned to you, people will look for the quality milk. Already there are people who are buying the milk at 60 to 70 rupees. Believe me, in Bengaluru, there is one particular brand of milk which comes from France directly. They sell the milk, pasteurized milk, fresh milk at 250 rupees per liter. There are buyers in the supermarket. That means that segment is from the milk and milk products will increase when the income goes up. Now there is something called food security bill. In most of the states, it's being implemented in one way or the other. The moment the calorie requirement through the grains and all is met with a certain amount of subsidy, the next immediate rise will be on the animal protein demand. This has been projected by IFCN and it has been projected world over. This is the trend. The moment calorie requirement is met, the animal protein will be in demand, and in a country like India, the animal protein demand on the milk component is the one which will be in demand. Because of this reason, there is likely that we may fall short of the milk requirement in the country in the next coming years. This also is one of the projection which has been made, and we have to gear up for this particular requirement which is there. So now this is the method by which it's likely to change. Since the value addition has been given to as some of the topic which has been given, some of the small case studies I also would like to bring to you. All of you would have seen Bengaluru Dairy in Bangalore. They will just, at one stage they were handling roughly around 10 lakh liters of milk. Behind them, the Nandini milk product was handling less than 1 lakh liter, around 70 or 80,000 liters. But at the end of the year, if you see their balance sheet, the total profit margin done by this Nandini milk products with only 80,000 liters was slightly higher than the milk, the Bengaluru Dairy, mainly because they were focused almost 90% they were selling as the milk. So this is where one has to strategize and look based on the value addition and the products which are in demand, which are likely to have in the near future. So this is how roughly maybe plus or minus 2% or 3%, this is how the value of the milk and milk products which is there. If you just have when I was a student 30 years back, they used to tell convert into ghee or the milk powder. Today we dare not to tell anybody that you convert into milk powder if you want value addition. In fact, there will be a negative returns if you convert and then hold it for a certain time. So now, based on that, these are the products which are likely to have the type of the value of for the consumer. If you look at, this is how it is the 90% if it is as a milk, something like 80 to 90% is the value to the consumer. If it is the milk sweets and all, these are the areas where there is abundant scope for value addition. That's one of the reasons you find that many of the milk cooperatives, they were not in this sector. Slowly they are converting, or part of their milk is being used for these products which are there. In the same fashion, the milk, as I mentioned to you, the dahi or the fermented milk product is one of the area where it's quite, the returns or the margins are quite high. The market is growing over a period of time. If you look at how many times earlier we used to buy dahi or the sack curd or the curd from the market. If you look at our own families, we have started buying at least maybe around 20% of the time we buy, 25% of the time. Can I make this 25% into 60 or 70%? Especially in a family, youngsters who are there, they want uniform quality of the product. Many a times they'll be having fight with their mother. Today the dahi is sour. Today, tomorrow there is a weight separation and all such things. So now slowly they are buying. So this is the one conversion which should happen. If it happens, that's the one where possibility is there. There is a growth in this particular sector, which is already it's growing. And these are some of the various type of products where the value addition is increasing day by day. Middle scale operation of the dairy plant, it is possible to add much of the value to any of these products. The ready to eat, ready to consume, ready to prepare products are the ones, convenience products are the ones which are definitely which are increasing, and those are the areas where we can look at. Now some of the fresh value added products which we can look at as the dairyman, as the dairy people perhaps, is already some of these operate, some of the people who are handling around 10 to 15,000, 20,000 liters milk, they are in this line. They are supplying to many of these supermarkets, superstores and all. Some of these are the milk-based beverages, milkshakes, etc. Many a times in developed countries, you will see that the 200 ml of the milkshakes along with the bread, it forms their breakfast. Maybe that is long time to come for a place like Erode or other these things, but already such situation exists in the metropolitan cities. And you have got the varieties of fermented beverages. One such thing what I would like to mention is, many of you would have seen or heard, what is the price at which we buy Yakult? What is the milk solids content in that? Roughly if you calculate, the milk solids value will go up to as high as 2,500 rupees per kilogram. You might have seen that 60 ml Yakult which we buy at 10 or 11 rupees, it has got 3% solids. You just calculate what is there. That particular segment of the product. And then the whole Yakult production plant, if you look at in Haryana, they are handling less than 12,000 liters of milk per day. And then they have got a reach up to entire country for the distribution. Handling 12,000 liters of milk is a clear example of what is the value addition. Keep on looking, even though I belong to basically a scientist by profession, we look at the pricing component which is there. What is that today? In fact, in Chennai, when we organized the dairy industry conference just 2 years back, we had called 2 speakers from New Zealand. It's much more cheaper to pick up land in New Zealand than in Tamil Nadu. 300 acres with 200 animals, with all cattle shed and all may be available for 15 crores of rupees, wherein in India, in one patch, 300 acres of land is impossible to get. So these are the opportunities. We try to bring the people from there, including a lawyer we paid and brought them to Chennai to address our dairymen to see that whether is it possible. Chinese are investing right, left and center. They are the shareholders in Fonterra. So we try to tell to our Indian entrepreneurs that there is an opportunity, there is a possibility. Indians are present everywhere, but I find that in the dairy sector of New Zealand, maybe that's one which is missing. I thought that let's fill the gap. We try to educate them, tell them that it is available. Even today, those opportunities are available in there. Now, another product which I have personally, I've got a lot of interest, which is a high volume product, which if it is made available in proper fashion and the proper this thing, of course, some attempts were made by one of the companies, but could be that's one of the reasons why it's about 10, 12 years back. The way in which it was taken forward may not be very ideal. So it did not click and to withdraw the product. There is one product which is consumed in entire southern India, both the times, 365 days they consume, is in the right fashion if it is given. Perhaps we find that there is an opportunity for this particular product. which is there, which can be taken forward, which I have been telling for the last 6-7 years. And I know very well Erode Dairy has done some work, and then they are selling at their own place. But some another dairy is also selling in quantities, maybe about 20 tons or 25 tons. But the market opportunity, in my opinion, is much larger. It exists if it is taken forward in a proper fashion, which is there. And then another such one product which is traditionally produced in Karnataka and perhaps in many other parts, Andhra Pradesh also it is there. One of the type of halwas which is produced, in every function this particular product is produced. One of the advantage of this particular product is the shelf life can be extended to 1 year without any problem. 1 year, you believe me, it can be extended with simple technologies. And then these are the ones, these type of products have got place, and then people, they do like these products, and these are the ones which have got very high value added products. Basically what is required, it's also as my friend Mr. Charles was mentioning, Rahul was mentioning, certain quality standards of the basic milk if it is there, then subsequently it's possible to take these products anywhere. The clean milk production, definitely what I personally feel, it has evolved considerably in the last 15 years. What is that? The first contamination does not really happen at the farmer site, other than only one aspect which is there. Our farmers have got the habit, first they have to sweep with the broom the barn and then they milk it. We told them, please don't do that. First you milk and then sweep this thing. That dust which is there, that is the only place where contamination occurs at the farmer's level. Subsequently, it is at the society level, when the milk is to come, it is those equipments and these things, at that level only the contamination used to start occurring. We have done systematic study with more than 400, 500 farmers, and we have seen farmers level, it used to be mainly with respect to dust. If that is controlled, most of it is safe from the farmer's level, because after milking, within about half an hour, he brings it to the society or the collection center. So these are all small touch-ups if we give, or the tips if we give to the farmers, that is the one which will improve. And in the last 15 years, the quality of milk with bulk cooling and all which has come in the last 15 years in a considerable way, and the quality of the milk has improved, and these are the milk raw material can be used for a variety of the products which is there. I'll not go into the details of individual product, but nevertheless, I thought just we'll touch upon some of the things where something can be done. This is something we did for there were two products on which we worked extensively. One is called Podo and another is called Chana Jilli. They are Orissa products. They were produced by the tribals earlier. Then we brought it into industrial scale, and then now the Orissa Milk Federation is producing these products. Again, fresh products, in some fashion it can be taken, 10 days shelf life and all. If you see such products, you can write to us. For the southern region, most of the products we have tried to cover, but sometimes you would have seen something which we would have not seen, and we can just look at generating the knowledge on those products also can be taken. This is one which fascinates me, which also Mr. Charles mentioned to me. If you go to any of the supermarkets today, you'll find these products. Some of you will have the idea at what price these cheeses are sold. These cheeses, please believe me, there are something like none of these cheeses is less than 2,000 rupees, Indian rupees per kilo. Whereas most of our cheeses, what you see here in the market, our processed cheese, sliced cheese is the perhaps most expensive, maybe 500 rupees, 530 rupees today. Whereas these cheeses are in the region of something like not less than 2,000, they are up to 4,000 rupees per kilo, and they are moving. Those products are moving across the country. In all if you visit any of the supermarkets, if you see their cold stores, they are flooded with variety of these products. And unfortunately, across the country, except for one in Haryana, there is no serious, one in Pune, another one small level in Pune, who was our own ex-student who is there. So other than that, there is no serious manufacturer, and there is opportunity. And recently somebody in Tamil Nadu has put up a plant. Let's see whether they will get into this type of a product. But there is opportunity with smaller volume and higher margin. Is a possibility. They have to look at what type of cheese they would like to have. There are, what I would like to mention, there are several products, fresh, then also the products which are which can have an extended shelf life. Then, but at the same time, every dairy plant or every processor has to design his own business model. After that, then they have to look at what is the type of technology they can look at, and those technologies, whether is it anywhere available, how best it can be made use of. And they have to design their own system for producing of these products. And in this connection, if there is any assistance or the help required, in fact, I've been interacting with in this region very intensively for the last 20-25 years. I see many of them present here. Again, my friend Charles coming into this region also helped me. We were all together in college, and then that relationship continued. Anybody, anytime you want any help, you can contact. But kindly do not forget, this is changing. Quality systems are changing. 30 years back, we were telling there should not be urea, there should not be bicarb. But today, we all say that everything is measurable. Everything is. They told me some percentage when I was a student. I started telling to my students parts per million. My students are telling to their students parts per billion. Their students are telling parts per trillion, because analytical systems are improving. So now with this and the food safety systems, it is in a confused state. I also happen to be on that board, but we find a lot of issues coming in a different fashion. It's not suddenly I can change the mind of the government. It's very difficult. You know, dairy industry, time and again, we keep on telling, since we are involved on both the sides, you please send a representation. We try to facilitate our own industry to say that you represent. At least to that extent, dairy industry is well off. We have got always the feedback from there, we take and pass it on to the industry, and then we try to gather all of us together and then try to take an issue. In the same fashion, Mr. Charles, this one forum which Shri Sundaram and all have built, I feel that you should take it beyond these things. And then I remember one of the group in Mumbai, there are certain people from Mumbai, there was a very strong association of Mumbai Buffalo, the Gavalis, the very strong association. The president of that was one well-known lawyer by name Hans Bugra was there. When I was in 30 years back story I am telling. He became vice president of Indian Dairy Association. You know, then he was one of the person, he had kept all of them together with their legal requirement and all. The time has come, somewhere some suddenly crisis comes, it affects the entire industry. Today entire noodle sector has been removed, affected. So the dairy sector also it gets affected. Tomorrow there is something happens, everybody's milk sale will come down, everybody's product sale will come down. Kindly be organized, use this forum, take it forward in a more positive fashion, and in any fashion you require any help or any assistance, definitely we'll see what best can be done within the framework of rules as far as I am in government service. Thank you very much.